well as the Young Bonnie Chronicles, and I'm joined once again by Andrea Rose Washington.
What it?
She is the author of Olivia, Elindo, and Almond Tree's Magic, and we are also joined by Jocelyn Short.
Hello, hello, hello.
She's a very talented concept artist and the creator of The Bearers, which we are waiting to see whenever she finishes that. And
It's coming, I
today
promise.
is what?
It's
It's
coming,
coming
I
from?
promise.
Good to go. Today we are back talking about Vox Machina. Season 2 came out, I think, a couple weeks ago, and
I have
we
been
were all heading
impatiently
off.
waiting for us to
Yeah,
talk about it.
we're, we're late to the party, but we had to, the team kind of broke up for a little bit because we had cons and other events to go to. So now we're back, and the crew is back. Vex and Vax, Percy, Pike, Grog, Trinket, and Keyleth are all back together. This first episode was kind of a kick to the gut, boy. Coming off of uh, Brimside, they killed the blue dragon from season 1.
hmm
The end of that, and now we're seeing the fallout, I guess, of them killing that dragon. We were kind of wondering if something was going to happen because we saw, I think at the end of season 1 or in the middle when they went through that dude's house and it had that symbols on the ground with the
hmm
dragons, and then it had different colors in different spots. And now we see like they done ganged up.
Yeah.
Like,
um, it because like as I said from when we talked about this in season 1, I was very much expecting season 1 to go down a certain path, and it definitely went left. And it's like, oh wait, I don't know if I signed up for the show yet. I signed up for lighthearted comedy troop, not murder, and and to see how things from season 1 are playing into even the first episode of the different dragons, and like, oh, we did see some of these dragons, and we saw your eyes in season 1, and we didn't even realize we saw it.
yeah,
It's a great tie back. Now I'm prepared for murder.
yeah, because they start off murdering, boy. They start off with the poison gas and lightning and ice, and they just start murking the entire like main capital city,
They came in
including.
hot.
hmm
They came in
I
so
wasn't
hot.
expecting the sovereign to get got like that.
I wasn't expecting his family to get got.
Yeah,
Like I was expecting him to die because the way season 1 ended and the way that he was saying, "I'm giving up my sovereignty," is okay. You no longer are important. But like I figured one of his children was
mhm,
going to survive because
yeah,
then like he'll bring the sovereignty back, because I guess it was like, oh, the timing of it ending and the dragons coming were very very, that was a little sketch in my mind. So
mhm.
I'm thinking, okay, one of his kids is going to survive. No one's going to survive. Okay. I do like that the sovereign died after he saw that his family was safe, and he was like almost like a relief, and then all of that was for nothing. He was like, oh, look at you, Vox, just building up my heart and then breaking it all down. I forgot how much I missed the show though. I will say I have been impatiently. It's been like popping up every time I have a Fire Stick. So every time I turned it on and watch Vox, I was like, I'm going to be good, because if I started, I was not going to be patient enough for this podcast.
Yeah.
You better.
Jocelyn, what do you think?
Um, it it blew me away. I mean, it's to me it started similarly to like the first season, which I was happy about. Like they came in guns blazing. They came in so hot with just like stakes, like everybody dying, and y'all need to leave or just everything just fire. Everything's blowing up. And the first episode of the first season felt like that to me, where like you said, it surprised me that that's where it was going, because I didn't watch, the D&D podcast that they did, that the show is based off of. So I was just like, I didn't know how real the stakes was going to be with this kind of show. Um, but yeah, the first episode of this second season just I loved it, because I was like, all right, it just felt like such a great opener, almost to like a really good video game, where it's like the
hmm
stakes are established so fast right away. and you know what we have to do, you know, at least what the next step is right away. We know what's wrong, you know, where we have to go or just establish what problems need to be solved real fast, and you feel scared about everything just like they do. So I was like, yeah, I'm with it. I'm with it.
Yeah. The crew is still the same, pretty much. Scanlan's being Scanlan. Grog is just big and goofy. Which, yeah, it did open similarly to the very first season, because I think that, to me, was kind of like a spoof on fantasy tropes, where it had like this super team that all bands together, and they get murked like in seconds. They just get off with their heads every other second. We're like, and then you learn that that's not the main group. Go ahead, Andrea.
No, all I could think of when that scene happened in season 1 was, and that was a moment I was like, I was lied to. This is not what the show was about.
You ain't expecting people to be underleveled like that. You ain't expect them to be, you know, in their green stage of being adventurers. You thought they was already well established, and these people just lying to you.
I was like, oh yeah, look at this team. We're gonna do this. Oh no.
Oh man.
Yeah, so it's kind of doubly so here when we begin, because the team has come through everything that we saw them come through in season 1. And it seems like the show, okay, you like barely defeated that one dragon. They up the stakes and they bring out 4 ancient dragons of different powers, and they're just wreaking havoc. They announced themselves at the towards the end of the episode. One of the dragons announces themselves as, you know, the Chroma Conclave, but they don't necessarily outright say, at least I didn't hear it, like, we're here for revenge because you killed one of us. But they just announced, like, all your monuments will fall, you're gonna bow down and you're gonna burn, and that's it. And I recognize, I think, Lance Riddick's voice.
Yeah. Yes. I have to hear him.
Yeah. I was like, because I played Destiny, I was like, oh, Commander Zavala from Destiny. I know that voice.
Yeah, he plays Silence in the Horizon series, and so I was like,
yes.
oh, Silence. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So they announce, he kind of announces the conclave. So that everybody's just running for their lives as everything is burning down. Gilmore tells them to meet me at the shop. The shop is barely there when they get there. My boy is buried in the rubble. And, you know, he always tries to sell everything. And when they finally get him up, he's just like, you know, just take whatever you want. Just
what am I going to do?
At this point, it's yours. Like, it's either you take it or it's going to get burned.
Yeah. Like, it felt like, I was just like, what are we going to do? Like, how will we win? What do we, like, I just felt like we lost. How do we, what are we gonna do? What's the show? We lost real bad.
I mean, if you start on such a low note, the only way you could go is up. So, you know, I mean, this is when our team comes together. I have false hope. This is when our team comes together, when they have literally their backs are against the wall and they're all making stupid decisions. But they're going to, something's going to happen. We don't know what it is. Yeah. We don't know how it's going to work. And when it does work, we're going to be like, really? That worked? But something will happen. But Rod, back to what you said, like they don't announce like they're there for revenge, but they do hint it at Keeley. When that one black one with all the eyes was like, oh, I remember you. And it's like, oh, wait, you were in the cave. So she hints at her that this is their fault. But like everyone else is just like, I mean, I guess if everyone else also knows that Vox killed the dragon, they're probably like, this is also in revenge. But you're right. They never outright say it, but they do imply it.
It's certainly implied. It's certainly implied because they killed one of their kind, and that's kind of causing problems. Because they're like, yo, well, we thought that dragons don't get along like as a group, but here we see them in concerted effort. They were offing everybody. It was people was walking down the street getting chomped in half, getting burned, getting acid spit on them. Yeah, flash frozen. All you see is these like icicles with blood just spray. It was crazy. I was like, oh, going full tilt here with the gore and carnage.
Yeah. Did you guys play Mass Effect? Have you played Mass Effect?
Yes.
I not.
Okay. Then I won't say anything.
Still explain it though.
It just the way the dragons came in hot felt like how the Reapers come in. Just whenever the Reapers show up, it is rightfully terrifying, and it felt like that. So I was just like, man, okay.
Yeah.
Like they just showed up on the scene like, you know what time it is. You don't have to say anything. You know what time it is.
It was funny how they all kind of got split up too. After the royal family gets it, the other people run into the castle. You think they're safe in the castle, and my boy, one of the dragons, just throws flame directly through the castle, past the guards, and you see it come clear out the other side. I think it even changes temperature. It goes from orange fire to like blue fire, letting you know that it's hotter than normal flame. It goes blue hot, straight through the castle, erupts through the other side, and then you see everything just crumbling, fault lines straight throughout the whole building. Everything crumbled down. Like everybody in there just died. And the sister and brother, Vex and Vax, kind of rebump into each other as they're on their way to Gilmore's. And he's like, "Oh, you made it!" And then Scanlan is all pissed off because no one really acknowledges him. He's like,
"Hello, I'm here too."
Yeah.
I love Scanlan.
Yes.
They are disrespecting him. I feel like they're disrespecting him more in this one episode than I felt he ever was in like the last season. And I don't know where this is coming from, because like he is the comedic relief, but he's also, I also felt like they really did value him. And then this one episode is like all of that went away in like 2 seconds, that technically, of the first season ending and the second season beginning, which was like seconds for them. I'm like, wait, what just happened? What is going on?
Yeah.
It's kind of like they're starting over with him.
Yeah.
Like he had built up a certain amount of respect for his plan towards the end, where they're, getting Percy and his people and the city out from under the control of that evil, like sorceress and vampire dude from season 1. After that, I think he had kind of built himself up and had some kind of respect. Now it seems like everybody just forgot all that. Like, you got to start from scratch, bro.
Like dragons happen. That last quest no longer exists.
Yeah.
We also see that Vax, because I know that's the guy now, because I have studied which one is a which. Yeah. I always mess up their names, and I'm going to mess up their names, so I apologize to anyone who hears this.
That's fair.
But he does see some random woman for like a split second. Because I will admit, I watched these episodes while I was playing a game, so I've watched episode 1 and 2 like 4 times because I had to make sure I caught everything in between playing a game. And he does see that one random woman when the dragons attack, and right before they split up. I think before the Sovereign dies too. And I can't remember if it was before or right after the Sovereign. I think it's like right after the Sovereign family dies. There's some random woman with long black hair, and only he saw her and no one else did, which I find it interesting because it's normally his sister who has like the mental like connection to the dragons, almost like where she can tell something's wrong. And this time he's the one with the special talent, at least for the second. I don't know what's going to happen with it though.
Yeah, he sees her twice and she looks kind of like they don't say her name or anything, but she looks like almost like a different species though. She's got some weird like tails things on her head, and her skin is a different complexion. And yeah, it's just kind of like random. She like walks by, stops, and then looks over at him. Mm-hmm. He looks back, and then she disappears. And then it happens again. I think when they later on, when they finally leave through the portal, that Keyleth, taking them back to where Percy is from, the Whitestone. When they go back to Whitestone and his sister's there, I think when they're running around, Percy is walking around to the shops looking for black powder. Vax sees her again, just randomly. She just walks.
Oh, I missed that one.
Yeah, she walks by again. He's like, and you're right, nobody else sees it, and they just keep going on, and then Percy leaves them to go by himself into that shop. So yeah, I don't know who that is. She's got to be significant somehow.
Mm-hmm.
I like all these nuggets that they're dropping. I feel like we see a lot of little bits and pieces of like character growth,
Mhm.
possible character growth, character journeys. Because I feel like this season is meant to be, even with the high action octane of this first episode, it still feel that to me it felt like, oh, okay, I see what journey we're about to go on for real. All right,
Yeah.
I'm with it.
And I thought it was really interesting because the way the conversation started, or so the way the episode started, and the sovereign was like, I invited outsiders into our kingdom. It almost seemed like he was talking about Vox Machina. And then when like the kingdom is basically destroyed, the castle falls, and they're portaled to their little home right outside the kingdom. They open the door after they're arguing, trying to figure out what to do. And it's like everyone's there. It's like, help us. And it's like, okay, the sovereign and his people were ready to throw you guys away, but the people knew to come to you for help. You're still there.
I knew that was gonna be bad news. I was like, all the refugees are popping up at y'all doorstep, and I was like,
oh, it was bad news. Yes.
Like, they're gonna follow you right there. Sure enough, soon as they showed up, they started letting them in. You see the trail of ice just starting to splash into them and start murking them, and they have to make a quick getaway again.
So
yeah, it's
stressful.
gonna be
Whitestone.
back to Whitestone, which is ironic.
Yeah.
Seeing it all, it took them such a long time to get there, and for Percy to go back there, and they had all the turmoil that they had going through there, which damn near destroyed that place after all the stuff they had gone through with the undead and that vampire and the sorceress lady from season 1. I was like, oh, are they gonna double up on this and bring the dragons over here to destroy this too? It's like, man, these people can't catch a break.
And I will say, when they got there, when they got to Whitespire, it's because, again, I get that in the real world, in our world, it's been a while since season 1 aired. But in their world, it's been like, what, a week or two? And how was that town so quickly turned around in what was for them a couple of days? Because they make them point to mention that they've already gotten a wall back up, that they're already building. It's like, I'm not saying projects could not have been started by then, but how is it almost looking like a paradise after you were basically destroyed and disfigured for years, for decades, honestly?
Perhaps it hasn't been as short a time as you're thinking, and they've been left alone to kind of rebuild. Remember, the part of the problem was stuff was destroyed, but not only that, the enemy host and the forces were there, probably not allowing them to rebuild anything the whole time. So they just had to sit there stagnant with that element gone. They were probably free to get together and start rebuilding stuff. That's kind of how they try to build hope. I think it might have been the second episode, or was it the first episode, where they're like, look at this. This was trash when we left, and now they've already got, like you said, they were, singing the accolades of how much progress they had made.
It was near the end of the first episode, because Scanlan is like, look, we're not doing this. We're not finding a solution to try and stop the dragons. Let's just hide somewhere.
Yeah.
And so, like, when he walks off, that's when, like, they sort of do the overlook, and it's just like, literally the end of season 1 and the beginning of season 2 is the same scene. When did you guys have time to build?
He was like, y'all keep talking about we have to do something. He's like, we ain't got to do nothing.
Say you could do something if you want to, but it's for me and mine.
This little guitar, we are going to go somewhere safe.
Yeah, I was rolling when he was that a foot or a hand when he shushed the dragon. He strummed his thing and had this big. She was the female dragon was trying to talk, and he's like, hush your mouth. And then something like went into her mouth and stopped her from breathing whatever she was going to breathe at them before they left through the portal.
So I looked it up real quick, and it said Scanlan's hand in the shape of a foot.
Okay.
So you're right. It's both.
Put the hand foot in the dragon's mouth and shushed her at the same time. That was pretty funny, giving them time to leave before another gout of something spewed upon them.
And it's sort of interesting that the Conclave, after like basically decimating the town, was like, if you try to fight or if you try to flee, we will kill you.
Like, so what are we gonna do?
So it's like, so you want them to just live there in like abject despair? Which, I mean, of course, that's what they want, but it's on fire. Like, so that is.
It's just pure terror. It's pure terror. Pure, like, you got yeah, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I was like, what do we do? Like, where are we gonna go? How do we think?
Because, like,
they leave us on kind of a sour note there. There is no hope at the end. They barely escape through the portal. And then that leads us into the second episode, which doesn't give us much more hope, but it gives us an inkling of it. At least they give them something to do. Let's take a quick break, and then we'll come back and talk about the second episode after they figure things out and get their minds right at Whitestone. We'll talk in a second. Welcome back to the second half of the Askari Cast. My name is Rod Van Blake, joined once again by Andrea Rose Washington.
What up?
And Jocelyn Short.
Hello.
And we're continuing our talk about the first two episodes. We already talked about the premiere of season 2 of Vox Machina. And now we're going to get into episode 2, The Trials of Vasselheim. So they figure out that there's another place that they can go to seek help, which apparently is some like huge religious enclave where like almost every religion is kind of represented. So they're figuring, well, we can go. They have another army because where they just left supposedly had the largest army in the lands, but that's totally decimated. So that's not going to be any good. They go to Vasselheim. They're going to go pick up some folks. And Percy, this is kind of funny when he's like, hey, don't worry about it. I got my diplomatic creds. I'll use them to get in and we'll seek an audience with the leadership, which doesn't work out.
He is using those credentials like out of I get that he couldn't use it really beforehand because he thought his entire family was dead and all this stuff. But like, dude, you are swinging those credentials around without actually knowing if they mean anything yet to anyone. Like,
gotta do what he's gotta do. He's just like, I am who I am. Does it mean something to you? Maybe. No.
Hopefully, fingers crossed.
Yeah, my boy tried to pull out the black card and it wasn't swiping at all. Like, sir, his card has been declined. It's like, that's impossible. And it was kind of funny because, go ahead.
Oh, the funny scene right before that though, like when they go through the tree because the like the end of episode 1, like the very beginning of episode 2, when they go through the tree and she's like, oh, I can tell you what it looks like, and the lady, she gave her the most vaguest answer what it looks like. First of all, and then second of all, they go through the tree and Scanlan's like, wait, no, don't come through, and they're all falling, and Keely's able to save some of them as like a huge owl, Keyleth. I keep calling her Keely. And then Scanlan and Percy are like, oh, okay, this is up for us. And I just love how Scanlan, even in the throes of danger, that man is a pervert.
Yeah. And Grog is so clueless because that looked like some big old pink butt cheeks to me, but he thought they were breasts somehow. He's like, hey, I was like, wait a minute, those don't look like breasts he just saved you with. And you were in the middle of cheeks.
Because Scanlan's tell said, like, Scanlan's little thing was like, I'm going to save us with some, like, he says the word butt stuff. Okay. And so, like, I had to go, I was like, wait. Because when Grog said that, I was like, wait, what were those? And so I did rewind, and like in his little tune, he does say, save our something with some butt stuff, and it's some version of that is in there. And I was just like, Scanlan, I love you. Because sorry, I had to practice this during the first half when they were letting people into their keep. And he's like, if anyone goes into my room, that's a normal swing. Just don't think anything of it. So I love him because even in the throes of this is not the time, he will make the time. And Percy's like, I can't even be mad at you about this because like you did save her life.
He said it's always time for this.
Yeah.
Time for this. With anyone. And anyone can get it. Just let me know.
Yeah.
Just let me know.
This is one of those things where I really like this show because it is very much intentionally both to be taken seriously and an obvious spoof where there's no question of either kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's no question that this is a spoof and that's fine. They're going to be raunchy. They're going to be crazy, but it is having everything that goes along with basically an RPG and high fantasy. So all the elements kind of come perfectly together so that you're not overwhelmed by either. And the mixing of all those elements don't, I think, detract from the enjoyment of watching it either way.
I also love how they're capable, but like kind of not all the way for real. Like they just it's more than just that they make mistakes. It's like they're capable, but they still have like it's kind of a long way to go on their journeys for like, you know, what their abilities are and, you know, just kind of coming into themselves and like they're not even aware half the time that they need to come into themselves. So like I feel like that's they're written in such a way that's so well where like it's obvious that these characters need to grow, but like they don't even know it yet. And they're just out here in the world trying to survive and get by. It's just they're flawed in just such a good way. I really like how they're written.
Yeah, and so they go. The funny thing is, Pike kind of gets pissed at Percy for like, yo, this is a religious enclave, and you have a holy person here, yet you're still trying to throw your diplomatic credentials from Whitestone around. Like, yo, you should have looked at me in the first place. And they finally get their audience with the leaders there at Vasselheim. And they don't even need their explanation, which I thought was a cool scene. Like, before you even explain anything, this wall will show us the truth. And they just turn around and like there's this wall of water, they touch it, and then the scene of the dragons just decimating the capital city plays out before them, and they tell them in no uncertain terms, oh, we feel for you, but that ain't none of our business. Until this calamity comes at our doorstep, then we'll stand ready to deal with it. But until then, you're on your own. We've stood here for this long because we let outside problems remain outside problems. Sorry.
That's how it goes.
That's their Wakanda.
Yeah. You go to the people for help and they're like, whoops.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Like, you can stay here, but your problems stay out there.
Yeah.
Not my monkey, not my circus. Yeah. Like, stay over there.
You smelt it, you dealt it. We didn't do
it. So and then I guess Vax at that point, or Vex decides that they're going to go to this mercenary group. And so, oh, we're going to make a deal with them because we're friends. And Vax doesn't seem too convinced of that. They march their way in to deal with this mercenary group there. And they're like, oh, it's good that y'all showed up since you got a bounty on your head. And plus you owe us a certain amount of money for stealing the bounty we had. So either you come up with a Hydra or 12,000 credits or whatever it was for the bounty. What's up, Diggs BTW7? So they're owed money, and so they're about to get whooped. And I don't know what the hell's up with Grog. My boy just goes on a walkabout for no reason. He doesn't usually. He follows them everywhere. He just decides he's going to go on a walkabout on his own
because he thinks he's like following food. He
said he's hungry.
It's not intentional. It's very much, I'm thinking with my stomach. Oh, food says this way. Let's go get food. Like, no one said that out loud, Grog. Like, follow the group. Stay with the group. And he's like, I see food. I'm gonna go get food.
Not only that, we see that he's picked up the sword from the vampire from season 1. I think it's a sword that's whispering to him because he thinks Scanlan is speaking to him when it's actually a sword that's whispering to him. And he's like, Scanlan, did you say something? He's like, no, you need to clean your ears out, buddy. And then it's like grumbling something else, says hunger or hungry. And that's when he thinks his stomach's talking to him when it's really the sword. And he goes off to get him something to eat and something to drink at a local pub. And then walks out. And of course, they're about to get mollywopped inside with the mercenaries. And they're just about to talk smack. And then they realize that Grog is gone.
Mm-hmm. It's like, oh, we said all that stuff thinking he was here. Ha 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 ha. Can you pause, please? No.
Yeah, they thought he was gonna hold smash for him.
Like, I said things that Grog can't check, that he can't cash that check. So can we stop? Pause. Wait, where is he? No.
Yeah. So they asked to talk to the patron. I think they keep asking for. We need to talk to your patron. They're like, she's not seeing anybody. And then they hear a voice after they're kind of fighting. He's like, the voice says, I'll take care of them. And then there's a trap door opened and they fall down below. And then we see Grog on his little walkabout, walks into this nice looking temple with these warriors and statues all around. Did the black dude sitting there, did he look blind to y'all? His eyes were kind of discolored. I thought he was blind, but he wasn't acting like it.
The one that Grog is fighting, correct?
Yeah, he's heavily muscled.
He honestly could be, because he was just spitting out riddles that weren't riddles. And I will have to say, I do like that it wasn't the obvious fake answers for him.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I didn't think he was blind, but I wasn't really looking at his eyes. I'm gonna have to go back and look at that.
Yeah.
I thought he was just an intense guy, just coming at Grog real hot. And
yeah.
It was just like, okay. Yeah. So yeah. I'm not sure if he was blind or not. I thought he was just, the eyes just was to illustrate this intense guy who clearly knows himself and is like, well, what are you about? Square up. So
yeah, he was like, everyone coming in here seeks answers, Grog Strongjaw. He's like, you know my name. He's like, he looked, I just saw the coloration of his eyes like they were doing kind of a trope where this highly meditative old combat master was just sitting there in the lotus position, meditating, waiting for someone to come along seeking answers that he was going to give, but the answers, there was going to be a price of taking an ass whooping to get the answers that you seek. We do see a little bit through their tussle of the effects of the sword after he grabs the blade and the blood goes into it, and you see the effects go from the sword into Grog, and his veins kind of bulge, his eyes weirdly change color for a bit, but then he gets punched and obviously he drops the sword after that, and we don't get to see that. I think they're going to follow that up much later, but it seems like everybody in the group is getting tested, like Jocelyn, like you were saying. This is kind of their development of what it is they're seeking. So in the midst of this turmoil of the overall conflict, everybody has to do some introspection because the rest of the group is in this dungeon kind of getting questioned by a sphinx. So it's kind of like they're getting the same treatment, just in different ways, as each is having their inner demons questioned by this old dude and the sphinx questioning like she separates them like through some illusion. They get whisked away one by one, and each is like having their inner person like question. Go ahead.
So I just looked it up for Groon. So he's not blind. It looks like that he was in a meditative state, and so when he like leaves it, his eyes were glowing.
Okay.
Yeah,
gotcha.
He calls himself the Earthbreaker.
Yeah. I forget, but I knew he had a hard name when he set up. He said, "Oh boy's name," and then Grog was like, "Yeah, you know my name, but I don't think I know yours unless you said it and I just don't remember." And
I mean, he's honest. At least Grog is honest. He's like, I was not listening. I was listening with my tummy.
Yeah. So yeah, Grog is getting mollywopped as the rest of the group is going through their own trial, below the mercenaries' lair with the Sphinx, and then she ends up tasking them with finding these talisman after I think they kind of earned the Sphinx's respect.
Mm-hmm.
When Pike stands up is like, I don't care if I die. None of us care if we die. We're going to do whatever it takes to get what we need. And so the Sphinx is like, okay, cool. If you're trying to get what you need, you're going to try and kill these 4 dragons. And here are these like special weapons and talismans that you're going to need to defeat them. So we're getting these. I guess this is the part of the side quest before. You can't just go straight to the end game bosses. If this was a game, I guess it's where they start you off at the boss and you get whooped up real quick and then thrown down the mountainside. You have to work your way back up and find the tools you need to get the job done. Did you say there were 12 episodes of this, Andrea?
Yep, there are 12 episodes.
Okay.
Beautiful, glorious episodes. I'm just waiting for us to watch them.
Yeah. What did you guys think of the Sphinx?
I was shocked. Whatever their person was going to be, I was not expecting the Sphinx to look like that.
Yeah.
Or one, to be a Sphinx, and 2, to look so different than any other animal that we've seen. She almost had like a marble-like texture for an animal, or not an animal, or whatever we're calling her, god, deity, whatever. Like the dragons, looked like dragons. Every other animal they came into contact looked like animals. And she looked like she was carved and then brought to life.
And we don't see the whole picture of her. We get bits and pieces because as she's walking around in the shadows, we see the front paws. And then you've seen the face, you see the slope of the neck, but you don't get like a full shot of her in totality. I think that was kind of cool because I guess eventually we'll see all of her maybe, but it's kind of interesting the way they did that. They give us visuals and bits and pieces and not the whole picture.
I thought she was really cool. I thought the whole part was so intense. Just a direct challenge to every single one of them. Like, who are y'all? Who are you? Do you have what it takes? No, you don't.
Yeah, she knows everybody. The funny thing with you say Earthbreaker, and the Sphinx knows like everybody's business, exactly who you are, what is your about. She's challenging the Sphinx is like, are you going to run away from your responsibility again? Everybody, you depend too much on your sister. Like she's spilling the tea on everybody in the group and challenging them. Go ahead, Andrea.
Except Scanlan. Like that was rude. That was what she said to Scanlan was so rude and out of pocket. I was just like, hold up. He is the heart of this group. He is the comedic relief. He is the realist of this group.
That part broke my heart so bad because I was like, man,
no one cares about you, and I'm indifferent.
You right, and I'm sad about it. I'm sad because I'm like, don't say it out loud. It's not nice.
Nobody cares about you, and I'm indifferent.
Yeah, I was like,
because we even see in episode 1 when they're about to leave the guy's shop. And he's like doing the portal thing, and one of them even asks, "Where's Scanlan?" So they obviously care about him.
Yeah.
So like the fact that she just sort of broke him, and I don't like in this season how it's probably going to feel like he's not a part of the group, because I don't understand where this is coming from because it's so left field so quickly.
Yeah. These first 2 episodes they go through a lot real quick, and now they've just gotten a plethora of side missions. The only thing that's kind of weird for me is like. So everybody else in the lands, I guess, is going to be in limbo while they're off gathering these tools. Like, there's going to be no relief for everybody. They're not going to stay there. The dragons, I don't think. They're going to keep gobbling up more territory until, I guess, they won't go directly to Vasselheim because that would be a real short one episode that they go direct from there to Whitestone to Vasselheim in one or two jumps. So they're going to string this out. But I'm curious as to what they're going to do in the meantime, like the dragons.
Well, they are. I know at the end of episode 1, they said that that they're going to hunt down the vermin who escaped, and so they are going to be looking for.
Vox Machina?
Yeah, but we just don't know where they're going to look for them.
Yeah.
But they said they are going to search for them.
Yeah. I mean, they can cover ground faster than everybody else, but they don't have a portal to jump through, or they might. I don't know. Be able to jump through a portal to get like right there instead of flying.
So stressful.
They are going to hit. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's just stressful. Like you got these dragons come after you, and then you got this Sphinx just dragging you for filth. Lord, for this quest, you got to go on and get your special weapons. All right, like goodness, great. That's all I had to say. It's just stressful.
Yeah. I'm gonna love the stress. I'm going to hope. I feel like it's gonna get me. These are like the type of TV shows that I like, minus all the extra murder. Like it's not even the murder. It's like the reckless murder. It's like you're paper people. That's how we're treating you. But they did say at the end of episode 1 that the dragons were going to go to Westrund, I think, to get gold there. So we might be seeing another town, village, city decimated. So we'll see what happens.
I think it's so funny that like they want gold. It's always funny to me that dragons want gold. I'm like, what are you gonna do with it? You don't need gold.
And I feel like dragons are just really big birds. They like it because it's shiny.
Yeah, they're gonna hoard it, sit over it, and I guess it's also an enticement for people to try and come steal, so they don't have to go out and hunt. They just, you come try and get in my lair. You don't know. You just bringing me snacks the whole time.
1 little snack, 2 little snack. Ooh, you're a plump snack.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I never thought about it as being bait. I always you associate dragons with like hoarding gold and stuff, and I'm like, for what? You don't need currency.
Yeah, they ain't got to spend it nowhere.
Who's in your way for anything? You don't need gold. So
I will say Rod's way. Yes, I agree with you. There's a different way of thinking it. I just always attribute them being big birds. Like it's shiny. I like shiny stuff.
It'll be interesting to see how they finish this off. Thank you both ladies for chatting it up with me and talking about this show. I know I didn't say spoiler alert when we first started, but if we were actually late coming into this show anyway. It's been a few weeks since it aired, so if you haven't watched the first 2 episodes, apologies, but make sure if you got Amazon Prime, check it out. The audio for this will be uploaded to Anchor and then distributed to Google Play, iTunes, Spotify, and all the other places where you can listen to podcasts. So be sure to check that out. Also, don't forget to check out Trek and Beyond.
Star Trek podcast, Discovery. Deeper dives with us now.
And if I haven't mentioned it, the link tree for Andrea Rose Washington, as well as the link to my author website and a link for Jocelyn Short's website, will be up in the description of the show as well. So if you're into art, if you're into sci-fi and fantasy novels and comics, check the links out in the description. And we will talk to you all next time.
Bye.
See y'all.